Hello, everybody. Today we continue our discussion of how the modern Middle East came to be. Today's topic is really going to look into two different groups, the Palestinians and Jews living in the Middle East. And our hope today is that we're going to come to an understanding of why the two groups don't really get along very well. So the way this is going to work, we're going to do part of this. We'll pause. We'll stop the video. We'll have you do some review questions on Canvas. Then we'll have you come back, watch the second half, and then kind of finish up that assignment. All right. So first off, we think back to what we had talked about yesterday in yesterday's lesson. We had gotten into how World War One had come and gone, and you had a Middle Eastern leader was offered to be the head of an Arab homeland if he revolted against the Ottoman Empire. And as a result of that, you had the British and the French. They came up with a new idea. The Arab leader kind of felt stabbed in the back. And in the process, the British and the French both took on what we were called protectorates or mandates. Those are going to be countries where they're going to step in and they're going to try to help get them back on their feet. While that's going on, they're going to go ahead and help themselves to some of the resources that Iraq and Syria would have had to offer. All right, so fast forward into the 1940s. By the 1940s, Iraq, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon had all gained their freedom. If you're in a mandate situation, the French and the British are going to stay there as long as they feel it is necessary. Once the country is ready to stand on its own, they're supposed to be out. For those four countries, they had gotten to that point. Iraq, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon had all maintained their independence. There's one country that's clearly not on here. That would be Palestine, known today as Israel. They had not gained their freedom, their independence from the British. Big reason for that is because it has been claimed by both the Palestinians and by the Jews as their homeland. They are both going to come in and say that, hey, this was land that was given to us by God. It's written right here in our holy book, and they both feel like they have a claim to the land. The British feel like as long as that tension is there, they don't feel like they can leave and grant independence. They feel like if they do that, um, then it's going to turn into war. It's going to turn into chaos, and they can't allow that to happen on their watch. So it's both. It's being claimed by both Palestinians who are going to be Islamic and Jews who obviously are going to be Jewish. Um, so that's kind of where things stand at this point. Okay, so you've got one land claimed by two groups. The British are there to kind of be the referee in all of it. Throughout their history, you've had Jews living in what we call Israel today, would have been Palestine back then. Over the years, more and more and more have decided, hey, we're Jews living in a predominantly Islamic area. We've been discriminated against here, oppressed here. So let's go out and see what the rest of the world has to offer. So many of them have gone out, found out that in the rest of the world there was plenty of oppression to go around. So you started to see a lot migrate back to Palestine due to oppression in other parts of the world. You get to the end again of World War One, and the British actually supported creating a Jewish homeland at that point. They got to the end of the war and said, "Hey, the Jews need someplace to go. Let's create a homeland." Most of the rest of the world, because you saw oppression of Jews going on in other parts of the world, most of the rest of the world wasn't willing to go along with the British here. They kind of saw the handwriting on the wall and understood that as long as there's no Jewish homeland, it's going to be tough for them to get out of Palestine. So the British want to see a Jewish homeland created. Most of the rest of the world says, nah, I don't think I can get behind that. They're being oppressed in our country. Supporting creating a homeland just sends the wrong message. Okay, because the British came out and said that, hey, we support creating a Jewish homeland, that meant the Palestinians are going to feel like they're being stabbed in the back all over again. Hey, you guys said that you wanted to create this Arab homeland, and now you're saying you want to create a Jewish homeland. That is you breaking your promise all over again. So they want support for their own homeland. So the British are they're going to be stuck in the middle. They're trying to ultimately do the right thing, it seems, but over and over and over again, they're just put in no-win situations. The British really support the Jewish homeland. It goes against the Palestinians. They really support an Arab homeland. It goes against the Jews. So the tension between the two groups just grows and grows and grows. And as time goes on, it becomes more and more and more violent. That's problem is only going to be made worse because more Jews start moving into the region. Okay, as more and more start coming back from other parts of the world, Palestinians become more and more nervous about their own independence because if a Jewish homeland is created, Palestine is the natural place for you to make that Jewish homeland. So the more and more Jews they see populating their areas, the more nervous they become about that independence. And then in between World War I and World War II, a guy by the name of Adolf Hitler comes to power. We've talked about him previously. When he comes to power and when he starts with his speeches and his campaigns to limit what Jews can do, you see more and more become desperate throughout Eastern Europe to get out. The range goes from somewhere in the range of about 880, or I'm sorry, 85,000 Jews living in Palestine to about 445,000 after Hitler comes to power. So clearly the number is going up significantly. If you're a Palestinian living in that part of the world, you're going to notice that big of a jump in terms of the Jewish population living in Palestine. More Jews moving to Palestine equals a greater likelihood that this Jewish homeland becomes a reality. So the Palestinians are going to put pressure on the British. Hey, you've got to do something about this. We're feeling threatened here. British, you have to make a decision. You have to do something about this. So, what the British decided to do was limit the migration. We're going to only allow a certain number to come in. Once that number is hit, the door closes, nobody else can come in. Their thinking is this: we're going to try and keep everybody happy. We allow migration to still continue, that keeps the Jews happy. But at the same time, we're going to limit it so that that keeps the Palestinians happy. There's an old saying that the person that tries to keep everyone happy in the end keeps no one happy. If you're the Palestinians, you're upset because you're still allowing migration, British. If you are the Jews, you're upset because, hey, there's a whole bunch of people living in Europe who are in serious danger by doing this. Okay, one could make the argument that the Holocaust winds up being worse because of the limitations that the British put on there. Could they have possibly known what was going to happen? I don't think you can make that argument. But I do think that you can say, had they not put these limitations on how many Jews could move back to Palestine, maybe that the number killed during the Holocaust isn't as large. All right, that's a good stopping point. We're going to pause it right here. We're going to put some questions on Canvas. Go ahead and answer the first 5 questions. and then come back and we'll have part two to this Palestinians and Jews discussion. We'll go through those notes and then we'll have you do some more review questions then.